Joe, just the impact that Drew made on his return.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, getting him back healthy was big time. I just think he brings a stability, especially to our defensively. It's another guy that can pressure the ball. It's another guy that can guard different positions. It's another guy that could execute defensively in different ways. And then, he didn't get a ton of looks, but he made the ones that he got. So, just I think his impact and his presence means more to us than he probably realizes.
And, there's a lot of talk recently about, effort and how offense and defense, how all that stuff plays into things. You have a night like Al Horford had where he doesn't hit a shot, but it still seemed like he made a pretty positive impact with his passing and his defense and all the other stuff. Do you hold that up as an example of, how you can still impact the game even if your shots aren't falling?
Yeah, I mean, he's that guy, I would say he does that regardless. I mean, you can never tell if he's playing well or not by his effort on both ends of the floor. And, he does things that, don't even get on the score sheet. There was a play in front of our bench where he just got a great screen and roll, read it right, rolled, and got a guy an open look. And so, he's a huge stability factor, especially in situations like this where, we want to be playing better. He kind of sets that standard. So,
the 45 points in the first half and then 45 in the third quarter alone. What did you see that changed that allowed you guys? Was it just shots were going in, or what was different for you guys in that quarter?
Yes, shots were going in.
Joe, kind of to follow up on that, you've talked a lot, constantly about process over results and stuff like that. I'm curious how much of a process it was to instill that mindset since you got here. Was that something the guys already believed in, or was that something you had to coach up?
No, these guys have been well coached before, I've gotten here, so no. But, it's situations like today, for example, where it's 3-2 after the first media timeout, and I thought every shot we took was a good shot, and I thought every shot we made them take, except for the missed layup, was a great shot. And so, can you have an understanding of that's the process that we're talking about, right? You take a look at Milwaukee, where we end up winning that game, but the first quarter they make 6 open above the break threes and 1 corner three. We're getting great looks. We're not making them. They are. We're executing the game plan. Can you continue to stick with it? So I think the best thing about the team is just their mindset to have an understanding of where we're at, where we're trying to get better, whether you win or lose. I don't think there's much difference in the locker room after a game like today as the other night. There's still 15 possessions we have to get better at, still stuff that we got to work on. So, and they understand that. So that's a good thing.
That not getting too high or too low, whether shots are going in, shots not going in, winning, losing, is it still rewarding to see the results of the process, or is it just about, not overreacting to any which way?
Yeah, depends on what your reward you're looking for. To me, the reward comes at the end of the season. So it just depends on what reward you're looking for. But to go back to the guys, they just compete at a high level. Even when they're not playing well, their intentions are to win, and we just got to continue to be better. I think this is good for us. Where we're at.
So was there any difference in the preparation over the last 2 days than
No.
normal?
No, we had because of the 3:00 game, we met yesterday as a team, watched film. And, there's obviously, I think, points of the season, you're always going back and forth on what you're trying to emphasize versus what you could fix now, what needed to be fixed then, what you want to fix 10 games from now. And so you kind of lump those into different categories. Yesterday, coming in on an off day, we were able to do both. We were able to focus on Toronto, but hey, here's where we got to really fix, right now. This has to get fixed now. We got to emphasize this now. And I think you're just constantly going in back and forth in that because of the schedule. So yesterday was 50-50, Toronto, and then, here's what we got to get better at. Here's what we got to emphasize right now, fix right now.
Did you see noticeable improvements on those emphasis today?
Yeah, no question. And I think it's going to change personnel-wise, but there was definitely carryover on hey, we got to get this right now, and that's kind of what you're looking for. And so there was definitely an attention to detail on it.
And how do you play a game like this? They're struggling, they're shorthanded. How do you try to play a full game and judge your performance after knowing the opponent?
Again, you have to be able to take those 15 possessions today that we weren't great at. In the first quarter, we gave up 4 layups that they just missed. We gave up an offensive rebound dunk that they missed. If we lose that game, those plays become highlights instead of lowlights. And so regardless of what the result of today was, it's like, here's the, what we did well, which, most of the time it's 75, 80%. Here's what we didn't do well. And, you can't get the highlights and the lowlights confused. Like, there's still stuff that we'll show next film session that, here's great carryover, but here's where if this was a closer game would have cost us. And that's kind of where you're always at. So, but highlighting the plays, I think, when you see the last lineup of Nemi, Drew, Jordan, X, and Jaden go in, and you have to take those possessions just as serious as the start of the second quarter. And Nemi's block off the rim in transition, X's loose ball, Jaden's ball pressure, Jordan and Drew. So, like, those things, you have to reward them, and you got to coach those just as much as you would do in a loss or in a second quarter.
Felt like throughout the game, the process offensively and the ball movement were excellent, but the results took a little bit to catch up. What did you see in terms of both sticking with that approach offensively and then not allowing it to impact defensive execution?
Yeah, I think that's the key. And you could say what came first, the defensive execution or the shot making, and I think that's where the game's connected. That's what we're always talking about. I think the competitiveness and the shift activity and our ability to just kind of fly around a little bit is kind of what kept us in it. And I think that's what you're fighting for, that mental toughness to be able to do that regardless of the result at the other end. That's what you got to get to. But there was a clear attention to detail to just the tendencies and the focus and the things that we we need to fix right now. There was great attention to detail. You take a look at 21 turnovers, had something like 20 something deflections, 14 steals. So that stuff's important, and that stuff is that we got to continue to get better at.
Joe, you're closing out your second full calendar year as coach of the Celtics. And, in soccer, they talk a lot about new managers will come in, raising the standards or keeping the standards high. I'm curious, what does that idea mean to you as you're kind of getting deeper and deeper into this job?
To me, it's just the responsibility and ownership of what it means, to work for the Celtics. I mean, this job isn't what it is if the people before you didn't set the standard, with the winning and the way they won and the tradition of it. So to me, it's just you have to carry that responsibility and the ownership to do that. And, I think the best part is, I told the guys before the game, it's 3:00 on a Tuesday. We lost more home games this year than we have last year. And look at the passion that they have for who we are. That's the responsibility that we have. And so thankful for that. But for 3:00 Tuesday afternoon, to get the passion is kind of why this job is the best job. And that's where the responsibility comes in. We got to bring it. And when we don't, we all feel that. We know that. When we do, you got to keep doing it. So that's the best part about it. And however long I'm here, we'll just try and keep that up.